So to kind of wrap this up, I wanted to look at some tips for loan payment calculations. Here's our payment formula that we use in spreadsheets, PMT for payment. The first thing we enter a rate and the number of periods. Now that rate is really the annual rate divided by how many times we pay during the course of the year. And the number of periods is going to be the number of payments we have during the year times the number of years. So these two entries both rely on N. And in the examples I did in the videos, I pretty much stuck to monthly payments, and that would be N equals 12 because that's typical of personal loans. So most personal loans are set up for monthly payments. However, if you're looking at a business loans sometimes may be paid off month by month, but they could also be paid off quarterly, which would be N equals 4, or semi-annually, which would be N equals 2, or annually, which would be N equals 1. And if that's the case, then you have to adjust your N. So all of my examples kind of use 12, and I went back and forth as to whether to do that, and I kind of decided to keep it at 12 because that's what you would typically see for, as I said, for a personal loan. But you may see in examples either for business or in your homework that it may actually ask for payments that are different. So I wanted to remind you, if it's a different time period for your regular payment, make sure you adjust N in both places. So for quarterly, you'd have a 4 there. For an annual payment, it would be a 1. So just watch out for when are your regular payments being made. The second thing I wanted to mention is be careful about your decimal point placement. 6.5% when you convert it to a decimal to put it into the formula is 0.065. It is not 0.65. Just leaving off that decimal makes it go from a 6.5% interest rate to a 65% interest rate. That's a big difference in how much you're going to owe the bank. So, and it will totally mess up your answer. So watch your placement. In terms of your decimal point to make sure that you get the right answer. Another quick reminder, always start your calculations in spreadsheet with an equals. And the last thing I wanted to mention is just a general tip for loans if you happen to take out a loan yourself. The regular payment we've been finding with this payment formula is the same regular payment that a bank might give you. But I wanted to mention that that regular payment is rounded to the nearest cent. And it's rounded to the nearest cent to get us closest to the exact amount we need to pay each month to pay off the loan in that certain amount of time. Let's call it T years. What this usually means, though, is that because of round-off error from rounding to the nearest cent, your last payment may not exactly be that regular payment you've been making the whole time because you will have had accumulated some round-off error over the course of the time period of the loan. So your last payment, if this nearest cent had been rounded up, might be a little bit less than your standard monthly payment, or it might be a little bit more if you had rounded down with that regular payment. So a good tip is when you get to the point where you're almost paid off your loan and you're getting ready to make the last payment, contact your lending organization and ask them what your last payment is going to be, because they'll give you the exact. And usually it's going to be a couple of dollars off from what your regular payment is, but that's okay. It's going to be really close. And again, the reason it's going to be off is because of round-off error during the course of those T years.